The weight of silence. Tom sat in the dimly lit kitchen, his hands gripping a mug of coffee that had long gone cold. The silence was thick, almost unbearable. He glanced at the clock, noting how late it was. Emily should have been home hours ago, but there was no sign of her. His heart tightened, a sinking feeling growing in his chest. Lately, things had been different between them. There were missed calls, unexplained late nights, and the evasive look in her eyes whenever he asked where she had been. He had tried to brush it off, telling himself it was just work stress. But tonight felt different. Just as he was about to pick up his phone to call her again, the door creaked open. Emily stepped inside, her face flushed and hair slightly disheveled. She froze when she saw him sitting there, her keys still dangling in her hand. "Tom," she began softly, "I didn't expect you to be up." "I couldn't sleep," he replied, his voice steady though his heart was pounding. "Where were you?" Her eyes darted away, avoiding his gaze. "I went for a walk. Needed some fresh air." He stood up slowly, his chair scraping against the floor. "A walk? For 3 hours? In the middle of the night?" There was a long pause before Emily finally met his eyes. The guilt in her expression was unmistakable. Tom's stomach dropped, the unspoken truth hanging between them. "Who is he?" Tom's voice was barely above a whisper, but the weight of the question hit her like a punch. Emily's lips trembled. She had hoped she could keep the secret buried, but now there was no escaping it. "His name is Mark," she admitted, tears welling up in her eyes. It just happened, Tom. I didn't mean for it to." Tom felt the world crumble beneath him. He had suspected, but hearing it was a different kind of pain. His hands clenched into fists, not out of anger but out of heartbreak. He turned away from her, unable to bear the sight of the woman he loved, the woman who had betrayed him. "I'm so sorry," Emily whispered, her voice cracking. "I never wanted to hurt you." Tom swallowed hard, trying to gather his thoughts. The silence returned, heavier than before. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he spoke. "I don't know if I can forgive you, Emily." She sobbed quietly, standing in the doorway, unsure of what to do or say. The love they once shared now seemed fragile, shattered beyond repair. All that remained was the cold, bitter truth between them, a truth that neither of them could erase. The story captures the emotions of betrayal, guilt, and heartbreak in a difficult relationship moment.